Well, don't really have any sort of plan, except, as like I said earlier, last episode or last session or last whatever you want to call these, um, I was trying to move away from the concept of truth and done something else, but it looks like I keep getting drawn back into it. This time through a discussion about what kind of ideas belong in the public sphere. Like, are there ideas that are too far out to not be allowed in public sphere? Now here on YouTube, there are boundaries. I don't have the firmest grasp on exactly what those boundaries are, but I know that advocating for certain kinds of things could get this video taken down, could possibly get my entire account taken down. Um, and YouTube, as a private company, has a responsibility to do that kind of thing. Uh, so does so do places like Facebook and Twitter X and everywhere else. Have some kind of responsibility to do that, and also, of course, they have the ability because YouTube, as a business entity, can choose that certain topics, certain discourse, certain language, certain images are things that they will not give a platform to, whatever they happen to be. And, if I were to run afoul of them, I could claim, some kind of discrimination. I could claim some kind of censorship, that sort of thing. But really and truly, that's just wah wah wah. You took me off of of your platform because they're a private entity. They can practice censorship if they want to. If YouTube wanted to only allow uh, things that they deem non-political, or if they wanted to not allow anything that suggested anything beyond a PG rating, they could easily do that. I mean, in the fields that I have to fill out in order to post this video on YouTube, there's even a little checkbox, which is, is this content made for kids, or is this content not made for kids? Now, for the most part, I don't think, other than an occasional word here and there, have I said anything that anyone of any age could listen to without any kind of a problem. But I've still always checked not for kids because this content isn't geared towards kids. There's, not a lot of pops and whistles and the cartoon stuff, none of the, teaching of easy math or whatever else one might put in a video for kids. But at the same time, there's nothing here that particularly kids could have. But if if YouTube decided that they wanted to be an entirely for kids channel, for kids app, they could do that. They could remove any content on here that had anything in it that had anything to do with anything that kids couldn't enjoy. And if anyone complained, it's just a bunch of wah 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 because YouTube, Facebook can do what they want. Now, there might be some quirky exception to whatever they want that, I'm no lawyer, so certainly there could be. But broadly speaking is what I mean. On the other hand, the government doesn't have quite the same ability. So the things that a political candidate says, um, they don't have to speak the truth. They don't have to speak politely. They don't have to speak in any particular way or endorse any particular point of view or disavow any other particular point of view. And someone who is speaking politically, the same thing. If I wanted to endorse the kinds of ideology that Stalin had, or that are, the big example, the Third Reich, or some say Hamas or some Islamic fundamentalist group, or whatever else is out there in the world that is generally seen as restrictive or negative or hateful. I could politically endorse those things. And politically, the government would have a hard time doing much about that. Now, like I said, YouTube could, you know, YouTube could remove this or ban my account, ban my IP even probably. Now I would, I have no, I would never endorse those kind of things. They don't represent my point of view. I mean, if you want to know my point of view on these kind of things, it's basically to the degree that it is possible, I believe in pro-choice. So, in the specific issue of abortion, I'm definitely on the pro-choice side. But the issue of guns, I'm pretty much on the pro-choice side. Meaning, uh, most most legal, law-abiding adults should be able to carry most legal, lawful weapons. I don't think it's a particularly wise idea to do so, but I support their ability to make that choice in most circumstances. Now, I do believe in some restrictions. I do believe in some limitations. I do believe in some uh, complexities to that issue because as a ostensibly offensive weapon, there are places that I think it is demonstrably unwise to carry a gun. But those places are an exception to the general sense of they can carry. I don't own a gun. I don't want to own a gun. I'm not interested in owning a gun. I've shot a gun. I don't care for guns. But I broadly support people's right to do that. Same thing with abortion. I have never advocated an abortion. I have never gotten anyone pregnant and requested an abortion. I've never gotten anyone pregnant. So, I'm not a fan of abortion per se. But when a woman is facing a choice, I think she deserves to have that choice and be able to make that choice. And, you know, for what it's worth. But I'm like that with almost everything. Like the issue of bathroom choice, issue of what one wears, issue of sexuality or choice of religion, all of those kinds of things. For the most part, I'm pro-choice. The exceptions would be when the choice you make is a choice that directly inhibits someone else's ability to make a free choice. That's when it becomes problematic. So take something like the issue of the baker who doesn't want to make a cake for a gay wedding. On the one hand, that particular couple should be able to get a cake from any baker in the general business area. On the other hand, that baker should not be required to violate their sense of conscience if it matters to them to that degree. So I don't have a good solution to that issue. Um, if you have to push and shove against it, I'm probably going to side with the couple over the baker. But I don't think that's a done deal. I think there are potentially some compromises and some issues that can be dealt with there that make that issue a little bit more complicated than that. So, that may not be the most popular liberal point of view on the issue, but then again, I've never have been particularly interested in getting labeled liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, or whatever else. At this particular point in time, you can probably identify most of my positions as similar, if not down the line, what Democrats think about things. That wasn't true 5 years ago. That wasn't true 10 years ago. It probably won't be true in 5 years, and it almost certainly won't be true in 10. I change because sometimes my position will change, sometimes the party's position will change, and mine won't. So I will stay where I was while the party goes on whatever direction they're going without me. So, but the issue is what belongs in the public sphere. So I'll be coming back to it next time. but consider this to be something of an introduction to the idea of what belongs in the public sphere. So the idea is, are there ideas that are beyond what belongs? Are there ideas, just like that YouTube, Facebook, and other kinds of platforms obviously can censor, can obviously remove? Are there such things that we should think of a way to do so in public as well, that just don't need to be spoken in public anymore or at all? Now some of these might be like the number of angels in the head of a pin. That used to be a big topic in the medieval world. Nowadays, I don't think anyone cares about that issue. They cared about it then because it related to whether or not spirit had any material substance or not. And if angels are being spirit, did they have material substance? And if they had material substance, then a limited number could fit in a particular space. And if they did not have a material substance, could an infinite number fit in a particular space? So that argument was a philosophical one about concept of substance and spirit. Concepts, as they were used at that time, are no longer philosophically valid. So it kind of fell on the wayside. And even those who do uh, explore theology don't really delve into spirit in the way that they did in the medieval period. So I don't think anybody has even a stance on the issue anymore, because I don't think anyone cares. And it wasn't like anyone won the debate. It's just people just slowly realized it didn't really matter, and it just fell away. Now, that's one way an idea leaves public sphere, but more often it leaves public sphere in another, more immediate way. And that's what we're talking about here. Not necessarily it falls away of its own accord. Or is that the only way an idea leaves the public sphere of its own accord? So, more on this next time.